The crystalline ships appeared over Earth's major cities at dawn on a Tuesday, their hulls refracting sunlight in prismatic cascades that made them appear to be constructed from liquid diamond. They came without warning, without response to hails, and most disturbingly to Earth's military commanders, without triggering any of the planet's early detection systems. Dr. Eliza Chen watched the Beijing ship hover above the Forbidden City from her laboratory window, coffee forgotten in her hand. Unlike most of her colleagues who expressed fear or wonder, her primary emotion was professional curiosity. The ship's propulsion system operated without any visible exhaust. Its hull showed no seams or welds, and its perfect silence suggested mastery of acoustic dampening beyond anything humanity had achieved. 12 hours later, after governments worldwide had moved from panic to cautious preparation, the aliens finally communicated. They called themselves the Galactic Council, a federation of 37 sapient species that had governed this arm of the galaxy for millennia. Earth was being formally contacted to assess its suitability for protected status within the Council's sphere. This is a historic moment. United Nations Secretary-General Okafor told the hastily assembled Special Assembly 3 days later, "We have prepared for first contact scenarios for generations. Humanity will face this moment with dignity, courage, and openness." But dignity proved difficult to maintain when High Counselor XL Foreign and his delegation entered the General Assembly Hall. The alien dignitary stood nearly 7 feet tall, his silver-scaled skin iridescent under the chamber lights, 6-fingered hands gesturing with elegant precision as he spoke. Behind him followed representatives from 7 council species, each more exotic than the last. From the crystalline, Teth, whose bodies seemed partially transparent, to the amorphous Vulnari, who required hovering containment fields to maintain stable form in Earth's atmosphere. Compared to these beings, the human delegation looked painfully mundane. "We have studied your broadcasts." Xelforin began without preamble, his words translated through a device at his throat. "Your species has achieved rudimentary spaceflight and basic computational systems. You have harnessed nuclear fission but struggle with fusion. You have not yet unified your planetary governance." Each statement landed like a judgment. Secretary-General Okafor maintained her diplomatic smile. "We are a young technological civilization, High Counselor, but learning rapidly. Perhaps you could share which technologies the Council considers foundational for membership." Xelforin's mouthparts shifted in what humans would later learn was the Raxian equivalent of a condescending smile, efficient faster than light travel. Gravity manipulation, unified field energy generation, consciousness transfer, the basics. Dr. Chen, seated in the scientific advisory section, leaned forward. "And quantum entanglement communications, we've made significant breakthroughs." The interruption from a human not part of the official diplomatic team seemed to amuse the aliens. Xelforin actually laughed, a hissing sound that echoed through the chamber. "Quantum entanglement cannot transmit information faster than light. This is elementary physics established by the Grand Unified Theory, proven 15,000 years ago. Your understanding of quantum mechanics is quaint." He turned to his fellow counselors, several of whom made chittering sounds clearly recognizable as mockery. Only one alien, shorter than the others with 4 multifaceted eyes that caught the light like polished onyx, didn't join in the derision. Instead, he studied Chen with apparent interest. This was Counselor Zarvek of the Meridian Collective, though humans wouldn't learn his name until later. The meeting deteriorated from there. Earth's representatives attempted to highlight humanity's achievements, only to have each dismissed as primitive or flawed. Nuclear power, inefficient and polluting. The International Space Station, a charming orbital hut. The Internet, a rudimentary information exchange system. By the meeting's end, the Council's offer was clear. Earth would receive protected species status, a diplomatic classification that amounted to quarantine. No human ships would be permitted beyond Mars. Limited technological exchange would be allowed, but only for approved appropriate development path technologies. Earth would effectively become a galactic wildlife preserve. As the delegation departed, Ambassador Wei of China caught Dr. Chen's eye and gave her a nearly imperceptible nod. The message was clear. The diplomatic channels had failed. Now it was time for Plan B. In her pocket, Chen's hand closed around a small device, a working quantum entanglement communicator that violated everything the Council believed impossible. The very technology HFY had laughed at existed in prototype, and it was about to upend the galaxy's understanding of what humanity was capable of. The first contact fiasco was about to become the first contact shock. 3 weeks after the disastrous first meeting, the Galactic Council delegation returned to Earth. This time, rather than the United Nations headquarters, they found themselves directed to a remote research facility nestled in Chile's Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth. The location had been chosen carefully. Minimal electromagnetic interference, clear skies, and importantly, far from prying eyes. The Raxian shuttle landed with barely a whisper on the concrete pad outside the facility, which from the exterior resembled nothing more impressive than a series of interconnected warehouses. This is where humans conduct advanced research. HFY didn't bother hiding his disdain as he ducked through the human-sized doorway. We expected at least a proper laboratory. Captain Marcus Rivera, newly appointed head of the Human Council Security Liaison Office, met the delegation with a polite but reserved smile. The former Navy SEAL stood ramrod straight, his dark eyes constantly scanning the aliens for any sign of threat or deception. Dr. Chen prefers practical workspaces over aesthetics, Counselor, Rivera said. I believe you'll find the contents more impressive than the container. Counselor Zarvek, who had remained silent during the first meeting, stepped forward. His 4 multifaceted eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture humans would later learn indicated intense interest. Function over form. Logical, he said, his translator rendering his clicking speech into crisp English. The Meridian Collective began similarly before aesthetics became culturally important. Rivera led them through a series of airlocks and security checkpoints that grew progressively more sophisticated. The final door required not just biometric verification, but quantum state confirmation. Technology that made Zarvek's eyes blink rapidly. The laboratory beyond defied the building's exterior promises. Cutting-edge equipment filled the cavernous space, much of it clearly purpose-built rather than mass-produced. In the center stood Dr. Eliza Chen beside what appeared to be an unremarkable black cube approximately 1 meter on each side, resting on a simple metal table. Welcome to Project Impossible, Chen said without preamble. 3 weeks ago, High Counselor HFY informed us that quantum entanglement could not transmit information faster than light. Today, we're going to demonstrate exactly that. HFY's scales rippled with what humans would later recognize as amused contempt. Dr. Chen, even your most advanced theoretical physicists acknowledge the no-communication theorem. Entangled particles correlate states but cannot transmit information faster than light. This is not opinion but mathematical certainty. Chen smiled. Mathematics is a language that describes reality, Counselor. Sometimes we discover new dialects. She gestured to screens arrayed around the room. We have communication stations established on Mars, Europa, Titan, and aboard Voyager 3, which is currently leaving the solar system. Standard communications with Voyager would have a delay of approximately 14 hours. We will be speaking with all stations simultaneously, in real time. One of the junior council members, a gelatinous being known as Representative Luum, rippled with what seemed to be laughter. A parlor trick. Pre-recorded messages, perhaps. Ask them anything you wish, Chen offered. Any question that would prove the conversation is happening in real time. Zarvek stepped forward. I accept this challenge. With a nod from Chen, a technician activated the black cube. It hummed softly, edges glowing with faint blue light. The screens flickered to life, showing human operators at each of the extraterrestrial stations. Mars base, this is Dr. Chen. We have council visitors. Please confirm your status. The response came instantly. No speed of light delay. Mars base operational. Dr. Chen. We have council visitors as well. Counselor Zarvek, would you like to ask a verification question? Zarvek's multifaceted eyes widened. Generate a random 9-digit number and display it visibly. The Mars operator nodded, typed briefly, then held up a handwritten sign. 847,390,126. Now Europa Station. Generate another random sequence without sharing it. Zarvek continued, his voice taking on an urgent quality. Mars base, please state what number Europa displays. The Mars operator replied instantly. Europa is showing 295,718,463. On screen, the Europa technician looked shocked. That's correct. There's no way they could know that without. Impossible. Zelforin interrupted, silver scales now flushing blue with agitation. This violates fundamental physics. And yet, Chen said quietly, it works. Zarvek approached the cube, scanner in hand. May I? Chen nodded, and the Meridian scientist began examining the device. His readings caused his 4 eyes to blink in rapid, asynchronous patterns. The quantum states are, I've never seen entanglement maintained at this scale or with this stability, he muttered. The theoretical implications are revolutionary, Chen finished. We took a different approach than your scientists. Rather than trying to manipulate the entangled pairs directly, we created a field that sustains and amplifies the natural entanglement. Zelforin pushed forward. This must be investigated thoroughly. Such technology cannot simply be handed to a species that doesn't understand. We understand it well enough to build it, Rivera interrupted, stepping closer to Chen protectively. Which is more than the Council managed in 15,000 years. As the implications dawned on the Council members, Rivera noticed one of the junior delegates, a reptilian aide to Zelforin, discreetly pointing a device toward the quantum cube. The captain caught Chen's eye and tilted his head slightly toward the suspicious activity. The first move in a galactic chess game had been played. Humanity had revealed its impossible technology, and someone was already planning to take it. News of humanity's quantum entanglement breakthrough spread through the Galactic Council like wildfire. Within days, a formal scientific commission was established, led by Counselor Zarvek of the Meridian Collective. Their mandate: investigate human technology and determine its implications for galactic scientific orthodoxy. The Council ship Empirical Truth, a vast laboratory vessel staffed by the finest scientific minds of 17 species, took up orbit around Earth. Each day, shuttles descended to various research centers across the planet, carrying increasingly astonished alien scientists. Dr. Chen found herself accompanying Zarvek through Tokyo's Quantum Robotics Institute, where the Meridian scientist froze in the doorway, all 4 eyes fixed on a humanoid robot moving with perfect biological fluidity. This should not be possible at your technological level, he said, watching the robot delicately arrange flowers in a vase. Your power systems are too primitive to support such refined motor control. Dr. Hikari, the lead engineer, smiled. We don't use standard power systems. The muscles are artificial protein structures that convert electrical impulses to mechanical energy with 97% efficiency. But the Council determined protein-based mechanical systems were a dead end 2,000 years ago. Zarvek protested. The computational requirements for controlling such systems exceed the benefits. Only if you approach it from quantum computing, Chen explained. We developed specialized analog neural processors that mimic biological nerve clusters. Similar scenes played out across Earth. In Mumbai, Council scientists witnessed room-temperature superconductors developed through materials science rather than quantum manipulation. In Lagos, biotechnologists demonstrated cellular regeneration techniques that made the Council's medical technology seem crude by comparison. At each site, the pattern was the same: Humans had pursued technological paths abandoned by the Council millennia ago, resulting in solutions no alien algorithm would have proposed. On the Empirical Truths observation deck, Zarvek compiled his findings with growing excitement. Captain Rivera, assigned as security liaison, watched the alien work, noticing how different his approach was from Selforan's dismissive attitude. "You don't seem troubled by our technologies," Rivera commented. Zarvek's eyes blinked in sequence. "Troubled? I am elated. Do you understand what your species has done, Captain? You've demonstrated that our grand unified theory is incomplete. This is the most significant scientific development in my lifetime. Not everyone on the Council shares your enthusiasm. Politics," Zarvek dismissed with a gesture. "Selforan sees threats where I see opportunities. The Raxians have dominated Council technology for millennia. Your quantum entanglement system challenges their supremacy." A chime interrupted them as a communication request came through from Selforan himself, addressing the full scientific commission. The High Counselor's scales were now permanently tinged blue with agitation. "Your preliminary reports are most disturbing," he began without preamble. "Human technological development has proceeded along uncontrolled, potentially dangerous paths. Their approach lacks the refinement and safety protocols established by Council standards." Zarvek's eyes narrowed. "With respect, High Counselor, human approaches have yielded results our methods failed to produce. The quantum entanglement technology alone is precisely my concern," Selforan interrupted. "Instantaneous communication across any distance. Consider the military implications. A species that still engages in territorial warfare given such technology is unprecedented and dangerous." The commission erupted in debate. Rivera caught Chen's eye across the room, both recognizing the political maneuvering behind the scientific concerns. Later that night, as the investigation team processed the day's findings, security alerts blared through the Earth security network. Surveillance satellites detected unauthorized scans of key research facilities worldwide. Digital intrusions with Raxian signatures probing for information. In the Jakarta Biotech Center, security systems caught a microscopic drone, Raxian manufacture, attempting to extract samples from the cellular regeneration lab. In Geneva, quantum fluctuation monitors detected someone attempting to remotely observe the entanglement frequencies of Chen's prototype. Rivera assembled his security team at the UN Headquarters Emergency Command Center. "They're not just investigating anymore," he told the grim-faced officers. "They're gathering intelligence for something bigger." On the main screen, a global map showed intrusion attempts lighting up across 6 continents. One of Rivera's lieutenants, a former cyber warfare specialist, looked up from her console. "Sir, these aren't random probes. They're following a pattern, targeting technologies that specifically contradict Council scientific doctrine. Someone's building a comprehensive catalog of everything we can do that they thought impossible." Rivera's jaw tightened, and there's only one reason to build that kind of catalog. On the screen behind him, another intrusion point lit up, directly at Dr. Chen's primary quantum laboratory in Boston. The investigation had just become something far more dangerous. The quantum lab in Boston glowed with soft blue emergency lighting as security alarms silently triggered throughout the facility. Captain Rivera, monitoring from the security hub, watched the thermal imaging feed with narrowed eyes. 3 humanoid figures moved through the supposedly secured laboratory, their heat signatures partially masked by advanced stealth technology, but not completely invisible to the hybrid detection system he personally installed. "They're good," murmured Lieutenant Kim beside him. "Those are military-grade cloaking fields." "Not good enough," Rivera replied, initiating the facility's specialized countermeasures. "Activate the pressure-sensitive flooring grid." The lab floor, designed by Rivera based on ancient Japanese nightingale floors, began transmitting data, each footstep of the intruders creating subtle pressure changes that the system tracked with perfect precision. No visual signature needed. The intruders converged on Dr. Chen's main quantum entanglement device, a more advanced version of the prototype, demonstrated to the Council. As they began attaching what appeared to be scanning and extraction equipment, Rivera activated his comm. "Dr. Chen, we have uninvited guests at your lab. They're attempting to access the QE7 prototype." Chen's voice came through, tense but controlled. "Have they breached the containment protocols?" "Not yet, but..." Rivera froze as one of the intruders bypassed the first security layer with surprising ease. "They know our systems too well. This isn't random industrial espionage. If they disrupt the entanglement field incorrectly, it could destabilize. Quantum cascade failure is unpredictable." Rivera didn't need further explanation. "I'm moving in. Security teams, converge on the lab. Non-lethal protocols, but be prepared for advanced resistance." Inside the lab, the 3 Raxian operatives worked with practiced efficiency, using tools that seemed to phase through standard security barriers. The leader, Vex Moore, a veteran of 50 covert technology acquisitions for the Raxian High Command, attached a quantum state duplicator to the human device. "Primitive construction," he subvocalized to his team. "Yet the entanglement matrix is unusual. These equations violate standard models." His secondary operative, interfacing with the device's control systems, hissed in frustration. "Their programming architecture makes no sense. It's inefficient, redundant, and adaptive. The system is rewriting itself as I access it." "Copy what you can," Vex Moore ordered. "Central command requires only the core principles, not a perfect." The device suddenly pulsed with intense blue light. Warning indicators flashed across their scanning equipment. "Entanglement field destabilizing." The third operative warned. "The quantum states are cascading unpredictably." Reality itself seemed to warp around the device. The operative's stealth fields flickered and failed as quantum probabilities collapsed in chaotic patterns. Vex Moore felt his very molecules tingling as space-time fluctuated around them. The laboratory doors burst open as Rivera's security team entered, wearing specialized gear designed to function in quantum distortion fields. The Raxian operatives found themselves simultaneously visible and partially phased into multiple probability states, their bodies flickering between locations as the entanglement cascade affected anything within 3 meters of the device. "Stand down and stabilize," Rivera commanded, his weapon trained on Vex Moore. "You've triggered a quantum protection measure." The youngest Raxian operative panicked, drawing an energy weapon. Rivera's team responded with practiced precision, firing non-lethal stun rounds. But in the fluctuating quantum field, the energy dispersal behaved unpredictably. The Raxian collapsed, his silver scales darkening alarmingly. Vex Moore snarled, raising his hands in surrender as his mission imploded. "This theft is sanctioned under Council scientific acquisition protocols. We have jurisdiction." "Not on Earth, you don't," Rivera interrupted, securing the alien's many-jointed arms with specialized restraints. "And not with technology officially classified as impossible by your own council." As the quantum fluctuations stabilized, Dr. Chen entered, surveying her lab with cold fury. On the central operative's equipment, a damning piece of evidence remained visible. Authentication codes linked directly to High Counselor Xelforin's personal authorization. The diplomatic incident was about to become a galactic scandal. The Galactic Council's emergency session chamber, a vast amphitheater orbiting Jupiter, hummed with tension. Delegates from 37 species filled the tiered seating, their attention fixed on the central platform, where evidence of the Raxian theft attempt played on holographic displays. Ambassador Sophia Okafor stood calmly at the center, her ceremonial diplomatic robes contrasting with the hard data she presented. Behind her, Captain Rivera and Dr. Chen waited silently as proof of Xelforin's direct involvement in the theft scrolled through the air in undeniable detail. "The implications are clear," Okafor concluded. A founding council member attempted to steal technology from a non-member species, violating 17 council statutes and endangering galactic stability. Xelforin rose from his elevated position, scales flashing with indignation. These accusations are outrageous. The acquisition attempt was a standard security assessment. Humans possess technology they cannot possibly understand the implications of, technology that violates known physics. The Council has a responsibility to secure such anomalies. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Many delegates nodded in agreement. Okafor allowed the moment to stretch before speaking. Earth anticipated this response. Therefore, we propose an alternative solution. The chamber quieted. This was unexpected. Humanity will freely share our quantum entanglement technology and other breakthroughs with all Council species, she announced, triggering gasps throughout the amphitheater. In exchange, we request immediate full membership status and complete access to the Galactic Scientific Archive. The chamber erupted. Such an offer was unprecedented. New species traditionally spent centuries proving themselves worthy of accessing the collective knowledge gathered over millennia. Zelforin's voice cut through the chaos. Absurd. You would hand primitives the accumulated wisdom of the galaxy. They still wage war among themselves. From the Durrani delegation, reptilian beings whose technological development had been deliberately stunted by Raxian trade policies, came immediate support. The humans have achieved what the Raxians declared impossible, the Durrani representative hissed. Perhaps it is time for new perspectives in Council science. Political alliances visibly shifted across the chamber as species calculated advantages. The Volneri, masters of quantum mathematics, signaled support. The crystalline Teth, traditionally Raxian allies, abstained. Councillor Zarvek stepped forward, his 4 eyes blinking in the formal pattern indicating emotion. I call for immediate vote on the human proposal. As the voting commenced, Dr. Chen whispered to Rivera, "Will this work?" The captain watched the tallies appearing above each delegation. It might. But even if it does, Zelforin won't forget this humiliation, she finished. The final vote appeared in glowing numerals, 19 for, 18 against. By a single vote, humanity had just changed its destiny. The Technological Exchange Initiative launched aboard Harmonia, the massive Council science station positioned at the Earth-Moon Lagrange point. The gleaming structure, 12 kilometers of interconnected laboratories, living quarters, and research modules, became humanity's gateway to the stars. Dr. Chen led the human contingent of 200 scientists, engineers, and specialists, each selected for both brilliance and adaptability. The Council appointed representatives from 26 species, creating the most diverse research collaboration in galactic history. Your approach lacks methodological rigor, complained Trelsu, a senior Volneri physicist, watching humans demonstrate their quantum entanglement technology. You test variations without fully modeling the theoretical implications first. We call it rapid prototyping, Chen replied, smiling as she adjusted parameters on the fly. Sometimes the universe tells you more than equations can predict. This fundamental difference in approach, human intuitive leaping versus the Council's methodical progression, initially created friction. But as weeks passed, cross-pollination began. Alien scientists witnessed how human failure tolerance led to unexpected breakthroughs. Humans absorbed millennia of established scientific principles, accelerating their understanding exponentially. Captain Rivera, heading security for the human contingent, found himself navigating more than physical threats. Cultural misunderstandings flared regularly. During one tense standoff between human and Teth researchers, he met Cathal, a 4-armed security specialist from a gravity-heavy world. Your species argues differently, Cathal noted, helping diffuse the situation. You embrace confrontation as part of discovery. Most Council species find consensus first, then proceed. Their unlikely friendship proved valuable when reports of sabotage began emerging. A human bioregeneration experiment ruined by contaminated samples. Quantum calculations subtly altered. Power fluctuations during critical tests. It's systematic, Rivera told Chen after the third incident. Someone's trying to make the exchange fail. Their investigation uncovered disturbing evidence. A fringe group calling themselves Purity Coalition, extremists from multiple species who opposed interspecies technology sharing, had infiltrated the station. More disturbing was the money trail leading back to Raxian shell corporations. During a high-profile demonstration of a human-Durrani collaborative project, a medical regeneration technique enhanced by quantum field manipulation, Rivera and Cathal detected an unauthorized energy signature. They traced it to a sabotage device hidden in the environmental controls. The confrontation left 3 security personnel wounded and destroyed a prototype valued at billions. Though they apprehended 2 saboteurs, the evidence connecting them to Xel-Thorin remained circumstantial. As the exchange program's future hung in the balance, alarming reports arrived from the galactic frontier. The long-dormant Vex Collective had suddenly attacked 3 Council border worlds, using weapons based on impossible technology. Emergency beacons flashed throughout Harmonia Station as footage from the Vex attacks streamed in. 3 Council border worlds, Lyrith, Navalox, and Tamaran Prime, had fallen within hours, their defense systems rendered useless by weapons that shouldn't exist. The Council emergency session convened virtually, with representatives watching in horror as the Vex Collective's ships phased through planetary shields like ghosts. Their weapons fired projectiles that traveled faster than light, arriving before they could be detected. Most disturbing were the energy signatures, unmistakably derived from human quantum entanglement principles. This is precisely what I warned against. Xel-Thorin's voice rose above the chaos. Human technology in hostile hands. They doomed us all. Ambassador Okafor stood her ground. These principles were leaked deliberately by Raxian operatives. Our investigation traces data transfers from the failed theft directly to intermediaries known to communicate with the Vex. The accusation ignited pandemonium. Species that had existed in peace for millennia now faced an existential threat, and they wanted someone to blame. In a quieter section of Harmonia, Dr. Chen studied the attack footage frame by frame, Cathal and Rivera at her side. There, she pointed to energy fluctuations surrounding the Vex vessel. They've adapted our quantum field manipulation, but they've made a fundamental error. They're treating it as a weapon rather than understanding the underlying principles. Can it be countered? Cathal asked, all 4 arms tensed with urgency. Chen's eyes narrowed in concentration. Yes, we need to create a cascading quantum field that forces their weapons back into conventional physics. She turned to her tablet, fingers flying over equations. It would require combining human quantum theory with Durrani energy projection and Meridian computational models. A 3-species collaboration. Never been done, Cathal noted. There's no time for it never been done, Rivera said, already contacting potential team members. The Vex fleet will reach Harmonia in 72 hours. As they assembled their desperate countermeasure team, the political situation deteriorated. Half the Council demanded Earth's immediate expulsion, blaming humanity for the crisis. Others recognized the Raxian manipulation, but feared it was too late. Against this backdrop of chaos, Ambassador Okafor made an unprecedented offer. Earth would lead the counterattack against the Vex, putting human lives at the forefront of a crisis they didn't create. We brought this technology into the galaxy, however unwillingly, she told the stunned Council. We will take responsibility for stopping its misuse. As Dr. Chen's team raced to complete their countermeasure device, Rivera began assembling a coalition strike force, unlike any the galaxy had seen, combining human tactical innovation with alien technology in a desperate gamble against extinction. The coalition fleet approached the Vex command node, a massive structure pulsing with eerie blue light at the heart of what was once Tamaran Prime. 26 vessels of various designs surrounded the human flagship Defiance, a hastily retrofitted vessel combining technologies from 7 different species. Captain Rivera stood on the bridge, the tactical display showing overwhelming odds. The first wave of Council ships had been annihilated minutes earlier, their conventional weapons useless against the Vex's quantum-shifted defenses. Conventional tactics won't work, Rivera told the mixed-species bridge crew. We're going naval broadside approach, 18th century Earth warfare, with 23rd century tech. In the cargo bay, Dr. Chen made final adjustments to her countermeasure device, an ungainly assembly of components that would never have existed without the unprecedented collaboration between species. Quantum Cascade Initiator online, she reported. We'll have one shot at this. The Defiance executed a maneuver no Council ship would have attempted, accelerating directly toward the Vex command node while rotating to present minimum cross-section. Vex weapons fire phased through space around them, but Rivera's unpredictable approach pattern, based on ancient sea warfare rather than space combat algorithms, kept them just ahead of destruction. Deployment range in 30 seconds, K-Fel announced, all 4 arms working separate control systems. Vex adapting to our approach vector. Deploy countermeasures now, Rivera ordered as enemy fire intensified. Chen activated her device. Reality itself seemed to waver as quantum fields collapsed around them. The Vex weapons, dependent on quantum shifting, suddenly found themselves bound by conventional physics. Their energy signatures flared in confusion. Boarding party, go, Rivera commanded. Thal led a mixed-species team onto the Vex command node, fighting through bizarre organic mechanical defenders to reach the core. The modified human technology at its heart pulsed with corrupted energy. The battle raged for 17 minutes before K-Fel's voice came through. Core secured. Quantum signature neutralized. In the aftermath, recovered data cores provided irrefutable evidence of Cell4's direct involvement in leaking human technology to the Vex, a desperate gambit to discredit Earth that had backfired catastrophically. The Raxian counselor faced trial before the full council, his species' 1,000-year dominance of galactic politics shattered in a day. Earth was granted unprecedented full membership status. Dr. Chen became the first human appointed to the council's science directorate. Captain Rivera established a multi-species security force dedicated to technological cooperation rather than competition. At the ceremony marking humanity's new status, Ambassador Okafor addressed the assembled representatives. The impossible is merely the undiscovered. Earth didn't succeed because our technology was superior, but because we never stopped questioning what was possible. The age of human innovation had only just begun.